disaster. So and the idea was it was a paradox, because in the beginning, if we analyze through the institutional framework or institutional theory this phenomenon, we can see that probably every company must act in the same manner when the institutional contexts are the same. But for the BP case, it doesn't work. And in the other side, we can see, when we consider the strategic decision-making theory, we are much more able to go through the inbox and look pretty closer to the organizational characteristics. So probably we just assuming that by mixing both this theory, probably we can find something. We don't know what we are going to discover, because for the moment we don't collect the data yet, but we would like to go through these both approaches in order to see if the institutional approach must explain better the behavior of the BP case, or is this the strategic decision-making theory that must explain better. So it's a kind of comparative study we'd like to make here in order to see which factors may have a major effect. Well, here is the research framework, so you can see that we decided to go into these two approaches. First, the institutional theory. I'm not a specialist with the institutional theory, but I understand a little bit. And through the strategic decision-making theory, to see how these both approaches can explain such a very strange behavior of this company, why they decided to go over the sustainability standards, why they decided not to respect, the institutionals, why they decided not to take into account the employee commitments, and a lot of different things that happened during this case story, we can say. And for that, we decided to mix both this theory. So from the institutionalism point of view, we know that companies, if you take into account the stakeholder theory and the institutionalism approach, we can see that companies are facing different responsibilities. They have responsibilities to their, to their stakeholders. They have to comply with the requirements and to satisfy their interests. On the other side, we have also responsibilities related to the labor and to take into account different interests here also. Companies are also facing environmental responsibilities, so they have also to take into account to protect the environment, and other kinds of responsibilities are there also, fiscal responsibilities or even industrial responsibilities, and in this case companies have to act in an appropriate way depending on the industrial sector. And when we consider the institutionalism approach, most of the time we assume that there are different drivers that may affect these responsibilities. These main drivers, they are regulatory factors or drivers that affect the way how the companies are fulfilling the different responsibilities. They are normative factors, and they are also cultural and cognitive forces. And as you can see, these different factors may vary depending on the country, depending on the cultural dimension, depending if the company is acting globally or if the company is acting only locally. And even for the institutionalism approach, we can use two different approaches. One is the new institutionalism that it's putting the emphasis on some more factors, saying that probably companies are acting in the same way if the pressure is the same in order to get legitimacy. And the old institutionalism is putting some more specific understanding, because here we are also trying to understand that companies have probably the capacity to negotiate with the institutions, and in that case probably the behavior may vary. For our study we decided to combine both, because also in our approach we don't have any preferences, and it's not my purpose here to decide to be on one side or on the other, because our feeling is that we have to mix both this theory in order to get a better understanding. And when we look at the strategic decision-making theory, we can see also that the strategic decision-making process is affected by a lot of different variables.